Welcome back to a brand new year on Switch to Linux. Well, today we want to spend a little bit of time just talking about some of the changes going forward into the new year as we are considering what we want to do and how we want to carry this along. First, we are I think we passed 48,000 subscribers. So we are perilously close to that 50,000 subscriber mark. So stay tuned for that when we get up to there. And we'll probably do something for 50,000 subscriber event, some form or another. As you can see, we have built a new studio over the Christmas break. So this is one of the things that I was working on. We have better lighting. I have full professional studio lighting, and I have good setups to do the camera stuff. So this video, we're actually doing at 60 FPS. And what I might try and do is more 60 frame per second videos when we're not doing live things and just use the same camera on a live setup. So we'll kind of see how that works down the road. We also will see this year the return of the old infamous tin foil hat time, which I think I'm going to be releasing on Saturdays on weeks that I have them. We're not going to necessarily do one every single week, but we'll try and do at least one a month, maybe 2 or 3 a month for sure. First one is getting ready and queued up. Anybody on the supporters tiers, I have to check if I'm going to do it out to every supporters tier or the $5 a month and above supporters tier. But somebody in those supporters tiers are going to be able to see that before it actually goes live. And we're still working on the processes of that a little bit. Of course, in that video, we will announce some of the new merch we have, which has actually been on the store for about 6 months or so, but I've intentionally not highlighted and not focused on it. And we'll get into that because it is tinfoil hat time related. So with that, I want to start out the new year by saying you guys that are watching who are not already utilizing Linux for something, I would deeply encourage you to give Linux a try. I'm not saying cold turkey, throw out your existing operating system. What I'm saying is give Linux a try for the things that you can use Linux for. Basic web browsing, simple email, maybe basic web searching, a little bit of fun and entertainment. Now, not everybody is perfectly capable of switching to Linux. I completely acknowledge that. Some people do need to keep things like Windows or Mac around for different work applications, but give it a try. If no other reason, number one, we're seeing some weird things in operating systems collecting even more data. In fact, I was going to do a whole video just on that, but maybe I'll do it in the future. But one of the things I was looking at is, even Mac, as far back as Yosemite a few years ago, started putting in some controversial operating system data collection. And it really begs questions. What are all these companies really doing? And the biggest factor why we should consider using Linux going forward is to gain at least some scrap of independence from the big tech companies that are out there. And that really is the important point, is to have a little bit of that sheer independence. Now, you guys who are using Linux already, let me encourage you to play around with a few different distribution types. If you're an Arch user, play around with Debian a little bit more. If you're a Debian-only user, play around with Arch a little bit more. Get out there and experience different desktop environments, different applications. Sometimes we get stuck in a rut. I know I do. And a lot of it is because I switched to Linux to get my work done. I'm not a backdoor tinkerer who just kind of sits around here seeing what all I can get to work. And likewise, I get into the same stale habits of using the exact same programs in the exact same applications in the exact same ways. And those are some of the types of things that can seriously impact us down the road. And so one of the things I'm doing, I did want to consider switching over the operating systems, upgrade my operating system. I'll probably do that within the next 6 months or so. I did not take the time to do that because I have retooled a lot of the banners, a lot of the framings, a lot of the other back-end things. We have all new supporter pages on Patreon and on Think Life Media. We've updated those, although the Think Life Media platform is still trash. We'll get that one hopefully this year. Well, it depends. That's slated to be worked on after we finish the Switch to Linux redesign. But one of the things I want to do is I want to look at what other applications we can be using to up the quality of some of the videos a little bit more. Obviously, focusing some time and attention on the studio is one of the core things that I wanted to get done. And hopefully, with that in place, we were able to get something that's a lot nicer to look at than what we had. And that's really the goal. I want to look into some other applications just to experiment with other video production applications. I'm very happy with Kdenlive, but I want to see what some of the other tools can do. I want to get out more software on that. Also, we'll look at a little bit more on the business end, although not as much because people did not really respond well to the business applications. So we'll kind of maybe throw a few things into there. I know this year I'm going to be dual running my books on GNU Cache and on Accounting to see which one of those two might work. Of course, Accounting is web-based, so I'm doing it on a local web server, and GNU Cache is what I have been using for a couple years for the publishing company groups. As far as new channels, new places, we are starting to cross-post some videos to Rumble in addition to YouTube and BitChute, so you can find a few other alternatives out there for people that are not necessarily wanting to see everything on YouTube. I realize there is a little bit of an exodus from it, and I looked into Rumble, and it seems as though it'll be a platform I'll give a try to, see how that works. So you can have a look over there at the Rumble Switch to Linux channel. We also have one for the Christian stuff, which is called Our Walking in Christ. So you can see the videos cross-posted over there. I'm not doing a huge backlog of the catalog. I'm mostly going to move the current catalog, like the current videos we're doing forward, and then maybe I'll throw some of the old favorites and some of the old highest viewed videos over there on as well. So that is another place you can go see the videos if you are increasingly concerned about what's going on in the YouTube world. For sure, that is something we wanted to do, and I got a lot more supporters who said yes, do Rumble than I had. I think one or two said no, don't bother, but I appreciate everybody's feedback, but we had a lot more people saying, yeah, you know, that it might be a good thing to look over. As far as Odyssey, no time soon. That, of course, was the old library. I tried that out last year. It was a very short-lived experiment. And who knows, they might have changed their culture around a little bit that would be better to go on, but it's not a priority for me in the next 6 months or so. Not to say I will never look at using their services, but I might in the future. Who really knows? As far as other things, not related to the Switch to Linux channel, but we are starting to release a weekly podcast on the publishing company arm. Of course, Switch to Linux does help fund what goes on over there a little bit. That's mostly just interviewing authors who write in the Christian sector. That's stuff I keep kind of separate from the Switch to Linux brand because I realize many of you guys are not interested in that content. But for those of you who are, just your maybe monthly, bi-monthly reminder, I do have a Christian channel, which is at Our Walk in Christ, and the publishing company is going to be called OWIC Publishing Author Spotlight. It's not on any of the big platforms yet. We are pushing out the first episode of that this week, interviewing the author of the book called Another Inconvenient Truth by Justin Derby. He's the first guinea pig for the podcast. And if anybody out there is an author in the Christian world and would like to be on that, definitely reach out to me. I'll have some links for all that kind of stuff in the description down below. As for where we're going with Switch to Linux, we are going to probably pull down the every single day doing a video schedule, mostly so I can redirect some time towards the writing channel, which I have greatly neglected in the latter half of 2020. That, of course, is my channel called Writing Done Right, where I teach you about using free and open source software in book production and other things as related to being a successful author utilizing free and open source software. So this week, we will be doing some more PHP list tutorials that have been requested over there, and who knows, we might do a full review of LibreOffice 7, so you can have a look at that channel as well. As far as here on Switch to Linux, we are going to be doing, I want to try and do for sure a Monday video. I might just take Tuesdays off because they're really busy for me as it is. And then Wednesday, we are going to go ahead and keep the distro wars, although I love your suggestions for how we can improve distro wars. I want to keep it up. We might keep the time slot at 2 because that does work for a lot of people international that don't get a chance to watch the later live streams. For sure, the supporter stream is staying on Thursday at 7 for now. Weekly News Roundup is staying 9 o'clock on Friday. Saturdays, when we have them, we will release a tinfoil hat time. If we don't have a tinfoil hat time and there's something else significant in the Linux world, we'll release that as a Saturday. That will be Saturday noon, and that will be a premiere release. So I won't be doing those live necessarily, but I will be premiering those. And for sure, the tinfoil hat time series, since there's so much production involved and research involved in those will go out to the supporters first. I'm just not 100% sure which tier. For sure, $5 and up tier will get those. I might release them to everybody. We'll kind of see how that plays out. So that is how this year is going to work. And of course, the weekly news roundup will we'll produce the individual videos, which will go out Friday and or Saturday and or Sunday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday will pretty much be the news days as we have been doing it. We're combining together the news series a little bit better, and we'll kind of see how that works moving forward into the new year. So basically videos almost every day still, just not, don't be looking for something new on Tuesdays. I'm going to use that as a day off to prepare for some of the other projects I'm working on and things like that. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the new studio. I hope you enjoy the new production quality. And as we move on forward into 50,000 subscribers, we are looking to make the year 2021 infinitely better than 2020 was. So definitely try out Linux if you've not already, and explore and experiment with some other applications you haven't been using if you are already on Linux. We're going to go ahead and leave it with here. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.